All right, so good morning and welcome. Always, it's wonderful to be here. It's wonderful to see all of you here back again. We welcome Lucy back again from Michigan, did you say? Yeah, all right. Very good, okay. So, we're continuing this morning with a series of messages on 10. That's all kinds of things that revolve around the number 10, including the science of numerology, which we'll take up a little later in the series. We're looking at 10 commandments. We're looking at 10 core concepts in the science of mind teaching. We're looking at 10 suggestions from the Dalai Lama. This is going to carry us all the way into November, so buckle your seatbelt, get ready, we're going to have a blast. So today we're finishing the last half of the 10 commandments, and so we're going to start with commandment number 6. As a reminder, be aware that as we are looking at these, we're not just aware of the literal meaning. I think most of us understand the 10 commandments and many portions of sacred text from a literal standpoint. We're looking at these also from a metaphorical, a metaphysical, kind of a deeper intrinsic meaning, an awareness that goes beyond the mundane and the superficial into a deeper mystical, perhaps hidden kind of connotation. If you have been around any kind of a new thought type teaching, unity, science of mind, divine science, anything like that for any length of time, you know that we seek to look beyond the apparent to the deeper message that is contained with so much of life. Our experiences, our interactions with nature, everything, messages and sacred texts, just all kinds of things. So dreams, we just recognize that sometimes there's more that's going on than just what we get, on the surface level. So, oh my gosh, when I was putting this together, well, first off, I had a really incredible experience. I got most of this message written and saved it to a thumb drive and lost the little sucker, and I don't know where it is to this point. It could be that a cat ate it. I have one who's acting real strange, so you never know. Pinky will eat plastic, paper, fur off the other cats. He's really not picky about his food, situation, so I don't know where it went, but I ended up putting it together again. So you're getting the second version. Who knows what it's like in relation to the first version, because I don't remember that far back. But when I was doing this again Friday, it just dawned on me how, sometimes things happen in our lives and they're profound and we have no real deep understanding of them. I never in a million years would have thought that this week, given the unfolding of events here in the state of North Carolina, I would be talking to you about the 6th commandment, which is thou shalt not kill. Excuse me, but it really made me think some incredible things. All I know to do is for us to keep being the good that we are and putting that love out there and recognizing that it must change things. It has to change things. Else, at least for me, there's not much meaning to this thing called life. So, at any rate, the 6th commandment, thou shalt not kill. To what depth do we employ this? Thou shalt not kill, it should be simple, right? What about in self-defense? What about in defense of people we care about? There are those of you in this room, part of this community, some who are not here today, who have served in the armed forces in defense of this country for very good reasons, okay? To do otherwise might mean that our children and our children's children would not grow up with the freedoms that we have. Literally, the very capacity to be here on a Sunday is part of the reason we're in these United States today. Because a body of people said, you're not going to tell me what to think, and you're definitely not going to tell me what to think about God. Okay? We're a pretty strong-minded bunch, especially in science of mind. This week I had an event in my office, my day job, that revolved all around thou shalt not kill. This time of the year, I work in an old house, and I work on the 2nd floor in a bedroom. I share that office space with another gal, And since I got there first, she came a couple months after I did. I got the big desk with the most workspace and the window, right? Well, I can't see anything because it's just a weird house, okay? It's a weird piece of architecture. But what I see is the top of a bush that's probably 3 feet tall. There's a critter that likes that bush. This time of the year, they find their way into my office and onto my desk. They're called stink bugs. I do not do bugs. Well, it's science of mind changes things. I will pick up the nastiest looking spider. I will try to contain it, okay, and take the sucker out. Most days with the stink bugs, they come in one at a time. I say a few foul words. You guys know I have an advanced degree in that. I get a piece of paper, I catch the little sucker, we go down the steps, down the hallway, out the front door, and they go back into the blue yonder whatever, okay? Still alive, maybe a little tussled and muscled, but I did my Buddhist part, okay? I did my belief that all things are reverent, all things. But, we tried to teach first I said, before my office mate came in, I said, get out of here. Look, I'm in charge, you're not, out that window, okay? Like I was trying to speak to the deva of all stink bugs. She didn't listen, or he didn't listen, so I got mint water. I got mint out of my garden, chewed it up in the blender, put it in hot water, took it in there and sprayed it, because that's what all the things online tell you will work. That was Wednesday before I went to lunch, and I told my office mate, look, I'm going to spray a bunch of mint water. She said, I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. She's, in there with me, okay? Come back from lunch, there's like 27 freaking stink bugs on the inside of the window, so crawling all over my desk. I'm like, what in God's name has happened here, okay? And like I said, one at a time, all right, I'll do that. But 27, no. I called management. 2.5 hours later, Terminex was there, okay? Forget thou shalt not kill, thou shalt come in there with, an AK-47 or whatever and blow those little suckers off my desk, okay? I don't do well when I think things are crawling on me, okay? At any rate, okay, to what extent do we not kill, I had bacon for breakfast. I hope I don't offend those of you who are a vegan or vegetarian. Last night I went out and I pulled off some of the last tomatoes from the vine. And in doing that, I know that I am separating that fruit from the source of its life. Okay? It's not going to grow old and die, at least not on the vine. It was a real good tomato. So how do we interpret this? It's just impossible to get in front of it, I think, okay? I mean, even Neil Donald Walsh in Conversations with God says there are times when we have to stand up and take care of what is good and what is right and what is holy. And I believe that's probably true. I really believed it Wednesday afternoon. Okay, Thursday, I did the good Catholic thing from my heritage and was awash with guilt most of the day over the death of 97 stink bugs or something. Okay. We are who we are. We just are, right? So, but maybe our Unity brothers and sisters had kind of a good idea when they looked at this and said, we got the translation on this one a little wrong. It isn't thou shalt not kill. It's thou cannot kill. And what they meant by that was, yes, we can stop the pulse. Yes, we can cease the expression of life in the physical. Okay? We can stop the body vital. But what life truly is, we have no capacity to corral. Even Ernest Holmes knew in his teachings that whatever it is we are was never born. And it cannot die. We can't stop spirit. It keeps going on. This week I spoke with a friend whose husband passed away in April or May after, I have no idea, probably 60, 70 years of marriage. And, that's a huge life changer. Tom hit the nail on the head, that no matter how you slice it, there's some outward orientation to that individual as a part of our life, and for whatever reason, when they go away, when they transition, it's a huge difference. You know, there's no way to change that. We end up changing the numbers, if you will, changing the composition of life, you know, when that kind of thing happens. But really, whatever that individual is, whatever it is that is alive and well, can't be terminated. We can't kill spirit. It's always present. It's always there. When my sweet, loving, supportive reason behind my enrollment in ministerial school, this was a minister who was the host of our Eustis, Florida campus, passed about 3 weeks after watching all of her 5 students in my graduating class be licensed as ministers. Immediately, I could feel her everywhere. I never would have felt that 20 or 30 years ago, okay? It was a huge, just a huge conscious sensory shift, okay? It was powerful. In this teaching, we don't have a lot to say about issues like capital punishment or even abortion. What we understand is that that's your decision. That's up to the individual to do what is best for them in concert with divine awareness. We understand you can't stop spirit. In fact, if anything, we are probably one of the most peaceable and non-killing teachings ever, because we understand God is present in everything. Every life, every heart, every form, the unformed. We understand whatever it is that is whole to be everywhere. And perhaps there's even another message that's latent within this commandment. Perhaps the advisement is suggesting that we would do very well to synchronize our thinking, our feelings, our beliefs, and our actions, to line them up like we would beads on a chain, and to always have them facing the light, facing the best, taking the high road, knowing the most complete, most true and perfect expression that we can in any moment. Because as we do that, we seek to not kill the good that is working to unfold in every precious millisecond. I think that's what thou shalt not kill is partially about. The 7th commandment, oh my gosh, speaking of marriage, thou shalt not commit adultery. Oh, this is such a good one, okay? Carol and I were talking last week, and she said, I'm going to have to come up with something fun to say about adultery. And I was like, that's going to be a blast. Ernest, God bless me. Eric Butterworth, the Unity minister, who, by the way, wrote an amazing book called Breaking the 10 Commandments. If you want to read something enlightening that will push your buttons and open your awareness, read Eric Butterworth, Breaking the 10 Commandments. He says that the 7th commandment articulates a law that is both beautiful and wonderful. But to fully grasp the intrinsic meaning within the statement, we have to have a good handle on the root meaning of the word adultery. It is Hebrew in origin. Ad, A-D, meaning to add to. Alter, meaning other. To adulterate means to add something that cheapens the quality or upsets the completeness of something. We are all familiar with the most literal meaning of this word, which essentially means to have some kind of sexual relationship outside of a partnership or a marriage. Yet what we know is that purity is a matter of consciousness. It's not only a matter of behavior. Adultery is not so much what two people do together that might be deemed wrong, but what we do destructively within ourselves. For in adultery, we bring in awareness, thoughts, beliefs that cause us to lose our integrity, to lose our sense of big ass self. In this light, sadly, every one of us is adulterous at times. As it regards human thought, I believe this commandment is a suggestion that we align our thoughts as they emerge, one by one, again with the highest and the best place that we can stake a claim and awareness. That we not allow a negative word or idea to be the last word we have, whether it's deflected or reflected at ourselves, out at something in the world, at someone else. As we align our thoughts, as we bring our awareness into that, we also have to, infuse it with our behavior and our idle word and thoughts, and make sure all of that is lining up again like beads on a chain from a place of truth. This commandment is about marriage. It is about not the marriage between one human and another, man and wife and wife, husband and husband, whatever, whatever, okay? However that works out. It is about the marriage between our little s, day-to-day self, and our big S, spiritual self. And how we allow that which the big S encourages to have its way with us day to day, moment to moment, thought to thought. The 8th commandment, thou shalt not steal. Well, again, it's really easy to look at this one from both a literal standpoint and a more discerning, a deeper discerning kind of perception. When we think of this as a literal statement, it's really interesting to note that in the times of Moses, Mosaic law was really simple, okay? And because of that, there was almost no thievery. If you stole a man's ox, you repaid that 5 times over. If you stole a herd of sheep, honey, your grandkid's going to be paying back them sheep, okay? It's going to be going on for a long time before you get that situation squared up, okay? People didn't steal. They just didn't do it. It was understood that a person's things were hard-earned, that they were theirs, okay? And why would we anyway if we understood spiritual law? Because what we know here is that if we go out and take something, first off, if there's something we don't have, then it's not in our consciousness to have it. That means if we want it, we need to work on us. Tom talked about relationships. I sat there and cringed. I am the queen of really weird, bizarre, and you just don't want to know the whole story about relationships here, okay? You'll never know it either, trust me, okay? Not even under anesthesia would I reveal it all. But, what I want to tell you is that what I finally did in getting clear of all that is said, no, stop this madness. What I want is this, and I want this, and I want this. And I'm not settling for anything outside of that. And I held to it until that human being stood up and showed up. It didn't take long either, okay? His name is Mike, and he's in Oregon today, okay? It was really an amazing... that part is really fun. He doesn't like me to tell that story, so I won't. But we understand that if we don't have it, then we need to work on this to get it. It isn't about going out and taking it away from somebody. It isn't about acquiring it through some ne'er-do-well kind of route, okay? What we understand is that if we do take something from somebody else, whether it's their belongings, whether it's, oh, I like the pen on my office mate's desk. I'm going to put that in my purse real quick. No, I don't do that kind of thing, okay? But, even taking the life of the stink bug, there's a part of me that goes, really, I don't want to have to pay that back, okay? Come on, universe, give me a break, right? But spiritual law is always met. That justice, what comes around, goes around, will be done, okay? So we know that if we take something, we're just setting ourselves up for the same stuff to happen to us. I almost said a different word. There was a Greek philosopher once by the name of Zeno who taught something really amazing. He said the most important thing in learning is to unlearn our error beliefs. And I believe that's really true. How much work have you done on changing your belief system? And how much fun have you had with yourself, okay? I've had a lot of fun with me, trust me on that one, okay? But it's vital for us to unlearn the idea that any kind of favoritism drives the universe, that God is a God that gives to one and takes from another. Baloney, okay? Set that sucker out on the curb and drive away fast, okay? We also have to let go of the idea that anything out there, outside, is going to make us happy. Because as soon as we get it, we set ourselves up for the message that Tom rendered a few moments ago. It will move on. And when it does, if that is what the sun shines in, we will be one unhappy kid. Been there, done that. No more. Okay? Number 9. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Well, he did too. I saw him, you know. At face value, this is all about, you know, running our mouths and basically being a gossip, right? Saying untruths about our neighbor. Again, if we go back to spiritual law, why would we ever do that? We understand, one, that what we speak, literally what we say in untruth about somebody else, says a whole lot more about us. And number 2, it opens the gates for that kind of misery to befall us. I don't know about you guys, but when I croak a long time from now, at least another 50 or 60 years, I think, you know, at least, right? I'm only halfway. That's what it feels like. Okay, at any rate, however, whenever it is, I want people to go, oh my God, she was a handful from the time she showed up to the time she left. And it was good. And it was good. Okay? You know? I learned things. Even if I learned them, there's that saying, God writes straight with crooked lines. Even if I learned them through crooked, strange Sunday messages, okay? And interesting personas, it was good. That's what I want to know, okay? I believe with this commandment that we are encouraged to cease running our mouths, to not gossip, to criticize or condemn. When we refuse to participate in water cooler hearsay, this is what we do. We support the stability of the tribe. Yes. We support the life force moving through and carrying all of us to yet greater and higher places. Once there was an American radio host by the name of Bernard Meltzer. You thought this came from Facebook. I know you did. Meltzer advised, before you speak, ask yourself if what you're going to say is kind, is true, is necessary. Wow. I don't think I would have a lot to say some days. There's a story that parallels this that's really cool. And it's about a politician. It really is, okay? Senator Paul Douglas from Illinois, who, by the way, was a practicing Quaker and also a fan of the Unitarian Universalist teachings, had this experience, and he shared it and his life changed. If you know anything about the Quaker faith, they don't have services like we do as much as they have meetings. And they come together pretty much in silence and meditate. And if someone feels really moved, they can stand up, take the floor, and speak. Well, one day at a Quaker meeting, Paul heard someone relate this. This is what the man shared. Whenever someone differs with you or criticizes you, try to show that person in every way that you love him or her. Boy, that's a big piece of transcendence right there, isn't it? From that point on, Paul Douglas worked diligently to bear only goodwill toward his political adversaries. He consciously spoke in ways that did not oppose or look down upon the person, but only made conscious his awareness about their ideas where he felt they were, off base. Douglas's rise in politics began as he implemented his understanding of this commandment and brought it into his daily works, into his life. It's really huge. Imagine this year Politics 2016, if anyone, anywhere, even farted this, let alone practiced it. Excuse me, I'm so disgusted with the whole scenario. It's unreal. Another idea about this commandment is that it might be suggesting that we think about speaking our truth where it is helpful to all concerned. In this scenario, our neighbors might be interpreted as our inner feelings or concerns, thoughts we're having. In this, sharing our feelings, our truth, from a loving and gentle place equates to refusing to bear false witness through the concept, the activity of being silent, of not speaking that truth. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Some, yeah. When we share truthfully, when we share from the heart, when good is our motivation, we also go back to commandment number 7 and practice truth rather than adultery. So it's amazing. I think when we look at spiritual teaching, for me, and this is kind of a segue, when we look at the teachings in the parables of the one known as Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, to me they all say the same thing. They're very different teachings, but there's some very elemental points, pivotal points that Jesus was making there. To me, I think that's very true with the commandments too, that we find these gemstones of truth sparkling through each one if we look at them and sit with them. The last and 10th commandment, thou shalt not covet. And that means anything, thy neighbor's house, thy neighbor's wife, thy neighbor's manservant, maidservant, ox, ass, or anything else that belongs to thy neighbor. Well, we could get into a whole long spin-off on what the ox and the maidservant and, those other things are. Okay, metaphorically, metaphysically, because they all have representation. If you look at a good metaphysical Bible, you can study that a little more. I won't go there with you this morning. We've been here long enough. Think about it this way, though. It's really futile, and it generates a huge amount of negative emotion when we look at something someone else has created and we experience lust over it. The ancient black metaphysician, Reverend Ike from Harlem, poor as a church mouse, so to speak, would walk through the streets of Harlem and see the Cadillacs owned by the heroin dealers. And rather than condemn what they did, he looked at it and he said, that's for me. That's for me. That good is mine, right here, right now. It puts a whole different spin on it, doesn't it? When we have a negative, jealous feeling about something that someone has achieved or has or is doing, what we do is we create a whole batting, okay, of emotional stuff that lives in that poor little me consciousness. It's a wash of self-pity. Now get me on this and hear this. Wanting things, I don't believe, is wrong. Desire is defined as coming from the Father, of the source. When we want something, whether it's a better car or a nicer job or, more money, whatever it is, I think those desires come through us as spirit unfolding. If I had more money, I would do more good with it. I bet all of you would too, okay? If my health was better, it's really, I don't have any complaints in that realm, but if my health was better, I might work 3 jobs instead of 2. Don't count on it though, okay? I do like my time off. If I lived in a different situation, if I had more free time, I might be devoting that to doing more that would hope to uplift the planet, okay? Eric Butterworth tells us that this commandment originally was designed to be a restraining device to those who were spiritually not aware enough to kind of, control their urges. As we grow spiritually, we realize, hyphenate that word, remember it means to bring into form. We realize, we make real our happiness, the awareness that our happiness is coming from within. It doesn't come from the stuff outside of us. It doesn't come from seeing ourselves win in competition over somebody else or something else. The idea of the 10th commandment, I believe, is not so much to stop coveting as it is to turn our attention away from what he's got, what she's, winning, how they're doing over there next door, okay? And what's going on inside of me. If I look at something you have and I feel jealous or down in the mouth or sad for myself, that is but one thing. It is a red flag that there's a part of me that needs to be brought into the light. There's a part of me that I need to take out and say hello to and say, what is it within you that is hurting to this degree? What is it within you that needs to heal? So we need to bring that out into our awareness. We need to look at that. We need to heal it. We need to recognize that when we are able to be joyous for the lives of others, for the gifts that others are experiencing, for the good that is happening in their lives, we are reaching a higher place in spiritual consciousness. When we seek first to know ourselves from the inside, to really know what it is that motivates, especially from those kinds of places. When we seek to heal that, and then to disidentify with ideas of lack, limitation, inadequacy, incompleteness, we immerse ourselves in greater awareness of truth. We become more peaceful, more giving, more loving, more able, more happy. I don't know about you guys, but I'm all those things, okay? I'm all about that. Ernest Holmes made a statement somewhere, and I'm going to really badly quote him like I usually do. He said, this world has learned all it ever needs to learn through suffering. We have to find whatever it is that needs to be healed. We have to bring it up, love on it, and then allow it to be the good it came here to be. When we do that, we are coming to the awareness that whatever it is that is in divine supply, just like sunshine, it's here for every single one of us. It doesn't favor one over another. It doesn't give to some and steal from others. His name ain't Robin Hood, okay? It's here for all of us. We have only to claim it and live it. When we step back from the 10 Commandments, I think that what we see is sage advisement that provides us with lifelong spiritual practice. For me, once upon a time I had a job. Actually, I was in ministerial school and I was writing a paper on the 10 Commandments. And the place that I was employed was in Franklin. So I would drive a certain route every morning going to work, and there was a billboard there that had the 10 Commandments on it. It was an amazing, just an amazing presence, okay, that would remind me, look deeper, and don't just look. Take each one, listen to it, sit in the silence with it. Thou shalt not kill. What does that mean to you? Okay? What could the deeper intrinsic meaning be for us as individuals? There's so much there. It's just rich with metaphor. We can take these commandments like gemstones reflecting the sunlight, open ourselves to different, deeper meanings that they might shelter, and change not only our thinking, but the thinking of the world. This world needs it. Let's do it. I love you guys. Thanks.